Hello and welcome to Chapter 15, otherwise known as alcohol. So this particular presentation is going to show you multiple things, videos, picture clips, short little interviews. There's going to be numerous things as well as some facts and figures you need to take notes on. So let's first start close to home with some footage from the Huntington Beach Pier. So let's go ahead and watch this. Sorry, technical difficulties. So what you just saw is this is Pacific Coast Highway. This is Pacific Coast Highway. This is the entrance to the pier. And if you go now, because this is obviously old, there will be barricades there that are removable for if they need to have them taken down for any reason. This is Duke's, and this is like the extra structure that's right there with the video camera on top. The pier is over here. So once again, let's see what just happened. We have police cars coming. People are walking away. What you can't see is right now the car that just launched onto the pier has gotten towards the end and is turning around to come back. There they are coming back. And now this particular person will be arrested. They ended up getting arrested for DUI. This one's rough. So this was on a local news channel. Again, sorry, the internet's kind of slow. So this particular video is not loading very well. Let me just explain what happened. This is a minivan. It's very difficult to see it, but this is a minivan. And right here, the gentleman was trying to make a U-turn. He was on his way to work in the morning, and what happened is he was texting and driving and not paying attention, and he was actually texting that he's almost about to enter work. Like he was literally like, I'm here, I'm almost here, I'm pulling in. Lost control of the vehicle spun out, and as you can see, it split the car in half. So no alcohol, no drugs associated, just not paying attention and lost control of the vehicle. The reason there is a tarp right here is, as you can see, unfortunately, this gentleman lost his life. Street racing accident. Very, very common. This one, the video is a little bit too horrific to watch at the moment. If you really want it, I can send it to you. Two brothers were racing, and there were cousins and family members, and they decided to race, and they lost control and ran into each other. And so at this point, we have multiple injuries, and we also have a few fatalities. And as you can see without actually watching the video, you can see how just destroyed these cars are just from messing around. Okay, so this one we definitely need to watch. It's a little bit difficult. No, it's a lot difficult to watch. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but you need to see this. This family of this gentleman has released the video on his phone that he was taking as a way to teach people about what happens. And I'm going to watch it and then we'll talk about it.
No, I don't know though. I'm scared. I mean, you're
Yes, that sound is the accident.
No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
So in the presentation, you heard Dan speaking specifically about how important it is to wear a seatbelt. Here is an example of what can happen if you are not wearing a seatbelt. So this particular person is in the back of a police vehicle, obviously did something naughty. He's being arrested, and you'll see what happens when you're not wearing a seatbelt. I want to warn you that this is incredibly graphic. Took off his handcuffs and went through the back window. So as you can see before the video switched, you can easily go through a back window, a side window, a front window. Your body will go wherever it's allowed to go. If there's something in the way, sometimes it will move it out of the way. Even in a strong police car. The police car itself got in a car accident because the police officer was paying attention to the person in the back and struggling to pay attention to the actual road.
You know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so let's talk more about the vocabulary associated with this unit. So a drug is a chemical substance that is taken to cause changes in a person's body or behavior. A depressant is a drug that slows the brain and body reactions. Fermentation. So during the process of fermentation, microorganisms called yeast feed on the sugars in foods such as malted grains. And in this process, carbon dioxide and alcohol are then produced. So there are a few risks of underage drinking. Being injured or killed in an accident, being a victim of sexual assault is on the rise, actually. This one is not something that people normally expect to happen. But when you've lost control of your ability to pay attention or to make wise choices, you're more likely to be raped. Or even just not raped, but you could do something that you later regret. Let me say that. Long-term brain damage, problems later in life, suspension from school, work, a sports team, etc. And then loss of respect from family and friends. There are some ways that you can refuse alcohol and drugs when being pressured. You can give a reason for refusal. Always have the ability to blame others. In that you could say, you know, my parents would be furious, they would ground me. If my coach finds out, I'm going to lose my spot on the team. Always have a reason ahead of time. use body language when talking. If you are being very passive and you are really not, I mean, you don't have to be aggressive with someone, but if they can't take you seriously, then they're not going to. Show your concerns for others when speaking. So maybe say, you know, I'm not going to drink tonight, but I'm going to drive everybody home, and show your concerns for others because I want us to be safe and I want us to be careful. Provide an alternative. So maybe instead of doing something tonight, maybe we can go to the movies, or, you know, I really, really want to see blank, or I've been really wanting to go to whatever. But come up with something ahead of time. And then when it says take action, it doesn't mean you need to be aggressive, like I said earlier. But if they're going to continue to bother you and they're not going to get off your back, then just leave. Go do something else. Find someone else to hang out with. Walk home, whatever it happens to be. Intoxication, the state in which a person's mental and physical abilities are impaired by alcohol or other substances. A blackout. It's a period of time that the drinker does not recall. So they may be walking, talking, they may continue to drink or do drugs, they may not understand what's actually happening, or they may be sleeping. They may have passed out. They just don't remember anything because their brain function is shutting down. So blood alcohol concentration is BAC. It's the amount of alcohol in a person's blood expressed as a percentage. And so if we talk about mathematically how much alcohol is in your blood tells us how intoxicated you are. Factors that will influence this are the rate of alcohol consumption, so how fast you're drinking. Gender, male versus female, there actually is a difference in the gender itself. And whether or not someone's going to get drunk faster than the other. Body size, someone who is 6'2" will have a different effect or feel it differently than someone who's maybe 5'2". And then the amount of food in the stomach itself. So here's an example of something that confuses a lot of people. So this is 0.02% blood alcohol concentration. In terms of what people say, they say, oh, well, I only had a glass of wine. Well, how your body metabolizes that glass of wine is going to be very similar to if you have a glass of wine and I have a glass of beer. If we're similar in height and weight and all of that fun stuff, similar foods, all that jazz, tolerance levels, a lot of people will say, oh, well, it's only a blank. Well, your body metabolizes the alcohol similar depending on what it is. And so if you're still having, you know, a bottle of wine, that's still not safe. A lot of people will use that as an excuse to have a lot. So here are some things that happen. Remember, if you are under the age of 21 in the state of California, you can't have anything in your system. Over the age of 21, there is a potential law being formed right now. They're hoping to make it even less than what it is for anyone over the age of 21. But currently, I'm older than you, much older than you. And if I have 2 beers right here, I would be at a 0.02% approximately, depending on the actual alcohol. I would start to lose judgment, and I would have a couple troublesome times doing things. At 3, you'll notice that my coordination goes down, my ability to track movements, and I'll have a hard time steering. That's why when you see drunk people, they're kind of all over the road because they have a hard time staying straight. At 4 beers, I'm having issues controlling speed. Sometimes this is excessive speed, but sometimes everyone else is going, 65 and this person's going 15. And so that's also exceptionally dangerous because someone going really fast can slam into them and cause an accident if that is the speed that everyone else is going. And then they also have difficulty processing information as well as reasoning. At 5, very slow reaction time, difficulty staying in the lane, so swerving and then braking when needed. This is when you lose the ability to understand when it's time to brake. And so they don't for a long period of time. And then serious difficulty controlling the car and focusing at this, if not even down here for some people, your body will start reacting very differently in terms of alcohol poisoning, and we'll talk about that soon. So here are some basic things that happen when you put alcohol in your body. So take a moment and read parts 1 through 6. And then specifically the brain itself. So when we're looking at the different stages, when we look at step 1, step 2, and then step 3. And then specifically for a teenage body, the font is hard to read, so I'll just review it with you. All of these pieces of your body, your heart, your brain, your blood, stomach, the liver, the pancreas, as well as, yes, your reproductive system, are all affected because your body has not fully developed yet and you are messing up your overall growth. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for notes. I do want to let you know that in class, during check-in, we are going to have a discussion about my students. And we are going to talk about some hard topics for you to fully understand where we're going with this. If you have any questions, please let me know. Have a wonderful day.